For months, I was trapped in a relentless loop of pleading. I yearned for my wife's warmth, her respect, or even a fleeting moment of her attention. Each day felt like navigating a minefield, constantly seeking her validation, craving her acknowledgement, yet always falling short. No matter how hard I tried, it was never sufficient. If I stayed late at work, she accused me of neglecting her. If I returned home early, she criticized my lack of drive. I cooked meals for her, surprised her with thoughtful gifts and planned outings, but she dismissed every gesture as if it held no value. I reached a breaking point where I no longer saw myself in the mirror. The confident man I once was had vanished, replaced by someone weary, depleted, and desperate. Every disagreement ended with my apologies, even when I wasn't at fault, just to maintain harmony. I believed that was love, sacrificing myself to ensure her happiness. In reality, I had become a shadow, existing solely to cater to her whims. This morning, something within me broke. She asked me to iron her clothes before work. Typically, I would have leapt to the task, hoping for even a faint smile. But this time, I met her gaze and said nothing. I sat, sipped my tea, and scrolled through my phone. For the first time in years, I disregarded her request. She noticed immediately. "Did you hear me?" she snapped. I nodded but stayed still. Her eyes widened in disbelief. She wasn't accustomed to this version of me, the man who didn't scramble to please her. She left the shirt crumpled on the bed and stormed to the bathroom, slamming the door. I continued sipping my tea in quiet calm. Later, she asked me to run an errand for her mother. Normally, I would have complied without a second thought to avoid conflict, but I responded calmly, "I'm tied up today. You can take care of it." Her expression was unforgettable, a mix of confusion, anger, and a hint of fear. It was the first time she saw I wasn't her servant. All day, she tested me with small demands. Fetch water, fix her charger, call the plumber. Each time, I shook my head or said, "Not now." My refusals were soft, composed, and resolute. That quiet defiance spoke louder than any argument I'd ever made. By evening, the atmosphere in the house had shifted. She paced restlessly, visibly unsettled, casting glances my way as if trying to decipher what had changed. Finally, she asked, "What's going on with you today?" For once, I didn't plead or over-explain. I looked her in the eye and said, "I'm exhausted from being the only one who tries in this marriage." Her mouth opened as if to argue, but no words came. She wasn't used to me standing firm. She expected me to beg for her attention, her forgiveness, her love. But today I offered nothing. No justifications, no groveling, no frantic efforts to ease her discomfort. The silence between us grew heavy. She tried to fill it by switching on the TV, toying with her phone, pretending she didn't care, but her body language betrayed her unease. She wasn't used to being ignored or to me prioritizing myself. When dinner time arrived, she asked if I was cooking. I told her I'd already eaten out. Her face fell. For years, I'd ensured she had a warm meal waiting. Tonight, I didn't lift a finger. She prepared something for herself, banging pots in the kitchen, but I could sense the panic in her movements. That night, as we climbed into bed, she spoke in a softer tone. "You've been distant today. Are you mad at me?" I turned to her and said evenly, "I'm not mad. I'm just done pleading. I'm done being the only one who cares." She stared at me as if a stranger lay beside her. She tried to deflect, claiming she never asked me to beg, that I was overreacting, but I calmly recounted every time she dismissed my efforts, took my kindness for granted, and made me feel insignificant. The truth was evident in her expression. She knew I wasn't lying. For once, she didn't hold the upper hand. I didn't raise my voice, cry, or beg. I simply spoke the truth and let the silence linger. In that silence, she realized she might lose me if things didn't change. As she turned away, feigning sleep, I lay awake, feeling an unfamiliar sense of freedom. For the first time in years, I wasn't burdened by the need to earn her approval. I had reclaimed a part of myself, and it felt empowering. I don't know what tomorrow holds. Perhaps she'll change, perhaps she won't. But one thing is certain, I'll never return to begging. Today, she noticed. Tomorrow, she'll understand. The next morning, I left early without saying much. I didn't answer her calls throughout the day. When I returned home, I calmly handed her an envelope. Inside were separation papers. Her hands shook as she read, her eyes brimming with shock and fear. She tried to protest, to plead for a conversation. But this time, I was the silent one. The man who once begged for her love was gone. I packed my belongings slowly as she watched, powerless to stop me. "You'll regret this," she whispered. I smiled faintly and replied, "No, I've already regretted staying too long." As I walked out, I felt lighter than I had in years. For the first time, I wasn't begging. I was free.